Afternoon and happy Motivational Monday. Today is about wellness at work. And work finds us in many different places these days. So I kind of tried to make it look like I used to be a banker where I'd sit at a desk all day or I would stand at a wicket all day. And one of the biggest things about being cognizant of wellness at work is we tend to do too many of one thing, too much sitting, too much standing, too much typing, too much clicking of the mouse. And, sometimes we think, I'm not doing a big workout, I'm not hitting the gym, but a lot of those little repetitive movements, poor posture, sedentary tasks can often lead to, many things that you might be dealing with now. On the opposite spectrum, our guys that are working physically hard and our ladies that might be working in construction or any kind of physical labor, our delivery drivers. I could do a whole session on people that have to be able to lift 50 pounds to go to work every day. Tell me where you are from. Tell me about your workplace. There's lots of different ways you can use the Lifepro tools that many of you have already at your workplace. Primarily, I'm going to be doing desk stuff today, but a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, maybe you're sitting in a delivery truck, or maybe you're sitting on an airplane, or maybe you're standing at a wicket for too long, doing bank stuff like I used to do. So I didn't know about wellness in the workplace or taking care of myself back in the day when I was a banker, but there's so many things now, that experience of living at a desk or doing manual labor. I have been gardening all weekend. There's things that we do to our body that we can use our tools to better not only our activities, but keep those chronic issues at bay or at rest throughout the course of your day, because those repetitive, that 9 to 5 is always the same. So I am saying hello to Miss Kim Wilson. I am saying hello to Restream Someone. I'm going to be going primarily over vibration machines, but I have some other fave things. Now that I've been doing some of these lives for Lifepro, there's just so many little ideas this hamster wheel has that you can use at your desk, on your couch, in your truck. So many of the tools that Lifepro provides offers, the ability to use things in your car. You don't always need to be plugged into a wall. So we're going to have a little bit of fun today. Hello, Gail. Gail works at her desk, so she's going to relate to some of the things I'm talking about today. I always ditch my shoes. You've seen me do my sessions, but even when I'm working, I have to kick my shoes off. It's my thing. My feet need to breathe. So I tried to make myself a little desk today. I always have to have a plant. That's my thing. And I always have to have coffee. I have the micro. The micro is no longer available, but if I were to tell you what my favorite desk model vibration machine is, so if it's something that you're purchasing for the office, for your workspace, you want it primarily for use under your feet, maybe the odd standing position. I love the mini, or I love the waiver, for two reasons. They're a little bit more compact if you did need to move them around or you wanted to pull them out and do a little fitness while you're at work. They're a little bit lighter. They also fit better under a desk. I had this all set up today, and I had my Rumblex Plus, and it was too wide to fit under my little portable desk. So I resorted to my micro, because much of my talking, as far as what I'm going to be doing on the plate, is just going to be feel good, breaking up that sitting that we do. Many of you are probably dealing with chronic swelling. If you're dealing with progressed things like neuropathy, any kind of sensitivity issues, you need to get circulation moving. So my little rant on sitting too much. When we sit too much, the muscles in our calves are not the largest muscles in our legs, and it takes a lot of work for them to pump lymph and blood uphill, especially when we're seated, let alone when we're standing. So anything you can do to help your feet, your lower extremities, especially if you're dealing with circulation or lymphatic issues, you've had blood issues in the past or any kind of cardio stuff, you want to make sure not only are your calves strong, but you want to make sure that you maybe break up the sitting. I don't know what the rules of Toyland are, but there used to be something like for every hour you sit, you're supposed to like stand and do weight bearing things for 10 minutes or so. Well, I'll tell you, sometimes when I'm editing a video or I'm working on something, it could be like, boom, 3-4 hours. So just mindfully, by putting your foot on a plate, or if you have foot massagers, any of those things that could be, used as an ergonomic foot placement. I'm on a stool. I have really long legs. I always have my feet up. I like at a good 90 degree when I'm seated. So this stool, I've added casters to the bottom of it, so it's a little bit more accommodating for my height. What I would suggest as far as being well at work, if you're spending 7 to 8 hours a day on this thing, this should be something that you should consider. You need ergonomics. Your knees shouldn't be hitting the bottom of your desk. Your hips shouldn't be going downhill. You want to be at a good 90 degree angle with your legs. I'm just going to get the plate going here in basic mode. I'm using this in oscillating, and I've just got, because I'm using the littler one, I've just got it at a slow speed. I'm going to say low to mid. I don't like going really, really slow because it's too choppy, but I want you to see this on camera. And all I'm doing, and I can already feel tingling, even though I've kind of been lifting and digging. I moved 25 pounds of bags of dirt today, 25 bags of dirt today. And, I'm feeling circulation, I'm feeling tingling, I'm feeling my muscles relaxing. So, if you don't have time to get up from your desk, or you're in a small workspace and you don't really, you don't want to be stretching out in the hallway and getting moving, this is a really easy way. I wouldn't do this all day, every day, but I would say, give yourself a couple of minutes or a 10-minute session a couple times a day. Break it up how you like, 5, 10, 15 minutes throughout the course of the day, just to get the legs moving is awesome. You can, work. I don't have a computer set up because it's taping me right now. Other things that I recommend that you use at work that you may already have in your arsenal. My second favorite thing to a vibration plate under the desk, and I'm going to show you a couple of variations, is the Lifepro's Legra Red belt. So I do deal with low back pain, and I actually have bad knee pain because I was supposed to get it fixed, and then I found vibration machines. So for those of you that have heard my story, yeah, I'm supposed to do some work on my knee, but as long as I use my machine and my Lifepro tools, it doesn't really tend to give me too many issues. One of the tools that I like to use, especially if I'm sitting lots, because I'm very bad for my posture, I'm trying to be more mindful, is my Legra Red belt. So I will use this in one of two ways when I'm seated at my desk. If, like today, I've been out in the garden and I've been nailing and trying to be Xena, the warrior princess, I like to wrap this around my knee, and I do it depending on where your pain is. Mine's kind of under the kneecap, so I would wrap this around my knee. I wore the stupidest pants for this today. Okay, and then I kind of leave it open at the knee. See how I've done that? Actually, almost looks like my knee brace. So I've got a little bit of a bend in there. And then while I'm on the vibration machine, I'm getting that nice infrared, the heat. It's expediting the recovery, if you will, because I have been very active for the last little while. But if there's any swelling or anything that may present itself later, it's kind of acting as a preventative piece as well. Really quick way to combine wellness in and my hands, my upper body is still free. I already have myself set up. I would do, if I'm doing the knee, I would usually do a 10 to 15 minute session on the knee. You can use the vibration machine that long if you like, but I would add a little bit of vibration machine to your day throughout the day, whereas the belt, I'm probably only using it once, or maybe when I'm sitting on the couch. My other favorite way to use the belt, okay, so you sort of just to see how I've done that, I'm going to show you that one more time. Me and my big yogi pants. So how I do this is I put the one part of the red underneath. I'm coming around the front, coming around the back. Oops. I didn't do that quite right, but you want to make sure you leave a little bit of a gap there so that when you sit down, you've got room. Okay, so my second favorite way to do this is just tucking it around my low back while I'm seated. Regardless of what your goals may be for using the belt, I like to put it right on the skin. Wrap it around. And don't do it like stupid tight. We're not trying to do a body wrap here. Just comfortable. And you know what's so funny about the belt is it kind of makes me conscious about my posture. If I'm leaning forward too much, I can feel it on my skin roll. So you can do your low back if you're doing this for skin tone treatments, toning. Leave it a little bit loose when you sit down. The skin tends to flatten out a little bit. So you don't want it riding up too far. If you find that once you sit down, it's moved up a little bit, you can also use this. Just lay a little bit looser, but make sure that you're not looking at it directly. And I put my shirt over top of it, and then I don't need to worry about the lights. And I'll do this, like I say, for about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes if I'm doing my low back. Another no-brainer while you are at your desk or driving or wherever you're having issue is the shoulders and or the neck. So my favorite way to wear it around while I'm seated, I'm going to come here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I kind of do, my bad shoulder is over here. Grade 8, high jump, long story. So I like to sort of center my shoulder blade in the dots. I tuck this under my left girdle, and then just bring this back around. So you can see how that's on my shoulder, okay? Maybe a little bit looser. Hang on. Okay, there. Okay, so again, I'm hands-free. I can type, I can talk on the phone. Again, I would do this for probably, I don't do everything every day, but you're going to have your chronic issues that are bothering you. But I'm still very able to type. It also makes me conscious of my posture. And if you have issues with both shoulders, you can switch it off and do the other side. But this is very comfortable. It's not restricted. You don't want it tight like it's restricting your breathing, but you want it structured on enough so it's not falling off. If you do have to get up because you have to go talk to the boss or something's up, you technically don't have to take it off if your boss will be okay with that. The neck, how do I do the neck? Is I kind of wear it like a little bit of a scarf, okay? Now, this one works better when you're sitting down. But I kind of just put it over the, right, tops of the shoulders, and then there. And again, if you're seeing the lights, make sure that you put your goggles on. But I'm putting on. It's sticking to my sweater. Okay. And I would do this one, I personally, when I do my neck, I actually do close my eyes and kind of just take a little bit of a breather. This one I only do for about 5 minutes. I just don't have the patience to sit here and do nothing. But like I say, I just kind of drape it over. I typically do wear my goggles or just close my eyes. And then, depends on your tolerance and what you're doing. But I wouldn't recommend doing the neck while typing, but you can drape it over in a fix. Okay, so favorite tool number 2, the Aleva Red Belt. I've given you a few ideas. You are only limited, as I always say, by your imagination and your range of motion. So depending on what ails you, if you've got chronic issues, and you have found that some of your tools alleviate the problems or the symptoms, don't stop using them. Don't wait till the symptoms come back and you're in pain before you start treating them again. So use them as a preventative piece as well. And sometimes, to be honest with you, with certain products, I find I actually am better using them while I'm doing a task or seated because, I'm sitting there anyways. If I have to sit down and make purpose of doing something, then I tend to find other things to do. So that is my number 2. So vibration plate, then the belt. My third favorite, my hands aren't bad, but my thumbs aren't great, is the Legra. So the Legra, for those of you that have this, I'm going over workplace and the wellness. I'm going to go, or wellness at work. I'm going to go over some questions towards the end of the session. But this, for those of you that are dealing with carpal tunnel, arthritis, if you have swelling in the hands, if you work very task-oriented, whether it's working at a keyboard or a control panel, or where the hands suffer and are overused, this is a phenomenal tool. Don't wait till the end of the day. Don't suffer. Guess what? Yes, you can do this while you're using your vibration plate. For me, I tend to, I like doing this one on a desk because it kind of just sits there naturally. It's comfortable for me. You can still work on your mouse and get things done. I might do this for about a 5 minute on each hand. And I like to get my fingers in there a little bit. Okay, there's a little ball on the inside that the palm of your hand comes in. I like to come just past that and let it get my wrist a little bit. That tends to be where my issues are, is the thumb and the wrist. Okay. And then I would do, maybe I'm watching a video, or maybe I'm just, taking Zen for a minute. I've done my right hand because I'm not ambidextrous, but I'll massage my right hand, and I'll maybe put the belt over my neck and just have that little downtime for about 5 minutes. And it really does, I tend to feel my issues later in the day, and then I'm just not in the mindset. So if you have these at work, you're there anyways, and you're seated, some of the tools, if you've got some of those chronic symptoms surfacing, treat yourself at work. The other reason is obvious stuff, like better cognitive impairment. You're thinking more clearly, mental clarity, mental fatigue in the afternoon, that 2-3 o'clock, lull with the brain. A lot of these things, getting the circulation, dealing with these chronic issues is going to allow you to focus on your tasks, not the pain in your neck and your hip and your ankles, if you will. Okay. So this, for those of you that have the Legra, this is a kind of a no-brainer. And once it's going, you can, walk around and talk to folks if that's what you want to do as well. Spend some time at the water cooler. Okay. The last little one I want to go over before I show you a couple of things on the vibration plate. For those of you that have the 3-ring yoga set, the smaller, okay, while you're seated, this is like the easiest no-brainer. Yes, you do need to have a chair in the back, but I put it just in the small of my back. Let me get the machine going again a bit here. Okay. And this, if you're feeling that ache, that fatigue in the low back from the slouch, the slouch. This kind of forces posture in a natural way. Again, you want to make sure you have a good chair. If you've got a proper chair and you're spending 7-8 hours a day in it, you're going to have room to fit this little one in the small of your back. And if you've got arms, I just do a little, I gotta drop my glasses, but I just do a little bit of a stretch, lean forward and back. You can really, it's not intense, but it's a very deep, all the way up, just relax, very slow movements, and you could literally, take a break from slouching, give yourself an hour with something like this behind your back. Or if you are a chronic sloucher, if you're retraining your spine, I don't know what the technical term is, but the posture protector, there's all kinds of gimmicks and tools. I don't want to use the word gimmick. It's only a gimmick if if you're getting benefit from it, it's because you're using it consistently. So something like this, if you have been suffering with poor posture, I would recommend probably 45 minutes to an hour per day max use, and build from there. You don't want to create tension or fatigue the other way. And I can already feel that to a degree. It feels weird to slouch forward a little bit. So if you're finding this is uncomfortable, try a couple of sessions, a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon when that fatigue sets in. And I think you might notice an improvement on your posture. Your children, your tech-stagers, it's hard to slouch with this thing wedged in behind you. So this is a very versatile little tool. Great little tool to have for posture. I'm going to put this back. And I have a couple of other things depending on what you are dealing with. I did introduce a little bit of red light with the Legra. For those of you that may be limited in your desk space, or you tend to have more chronic issues related to joints, or you're short on time, another really good tool is the Luma Cure. It's a different treatment than the Legra red belt. It's going to be a little bit more intense. But if you do have chronic joint pain, this is a tool many of you have now. This, 3 to 5 minutes. It's a very, very quick treatment on a localized area. But you may find just sitting at your desk, it's petite. You don't need to take the whole case with you if you're just heading to the office. There's a little carrying pouch that comes with it. So you can just charge it up, throw it in your purse or your gym bag for the day, and treat yourself on the go. The main reason I wanted to do a workplace session, workplace is about as, everybody's workplace is about as diverse as their fitness goals, their workout goals, if you will. So many of you are in 9 to 5 situations, or maybe not 9 to 5, but we tend to do, time and those same sedentary tasks, or we're too active, we're too inactive, we're sitting too much, we're standing too much. There's lots of different reasons that over time, those repetitive tasks, regardless of how taxing they are on you physically,
clicking the mouse doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you're doing it 60, 70, 80,000 times a day or whatever the math is, guess what? You're going to have some issues later in life. So prevention goes a long way. If you are dealing with some of these chronic issues and your tools have helped you alleviate the symptoms, use them absolutely on a preventative piece. And doing them at work is just a really easy way to not cut into your own time, but to help treat those symptoms when they start to surface, not once you get home at the end of your day and you still got to make dinner and feed the kids and do all those things. So, it helps, I find, for me personally. If I incorporate these things into my workday, maybe I'm working on a blog article or just doing some notes for a session, I'm more mindful of it. And it's just a different way to use the tools that you may already have at home. All right, I wanted to show you a couple more things on the vibration plate. We are talking wellness at work. Many of you have many of these gadgets, and I certainly do not have Lifepro's entire arsenal represented here today. But for those of you that have taken the plunge and have a vibration plate at work, there's a couple of little variations. You're already at a desk that I like to sort of play with. I pull it out till it's about, I don't know, we're going to stand up just slightly on this thing. So make sure your knees aren't hitting your desk. Okay. And this is why a Waver or a Mini, this is a really, I hate to say this is the perfect second machine. If you've got a Rumblex or you've got a Relax-A-Vibe or one of the bigger, more stationary home models, I think you may find the Mini or the Waver a great second. If you're enjoying your plate at home from a wellness perspective and you do spend a lot of time, maybe you're spending a lot of time standing. There's always, I've put machines into break rooms, into hospital offices. Everybody's got chronic issues that certainly could benefit from a little bit of movement. So we've done some shaking. My favorite move to do from here, just to break up the standing, is just to stand up a little bit and just put my hands on my desk. You might want to come all the way over and put your forearms on. But this is so awesome on the low back. You can do like a mini pelvic tilt the bum in. Just do whatever feels good to you. Just break up the sitting. A little bit of this. Okay, I can feel all the gardening that I've done this weekend. I went too hard. And, as I said, if you are dealing with cardiac issues, if you're dealing with lower leg swelling, even just a minute or two slightly, not standing, but slightly squatting, just to activate those leg muscles. I line that up pretty good. I'm not even hitting the desk. Okay. And if you have an area for your machine where, you don't have to have it under your desk, I think I showed you guys this one a little bit last week, but, I back in the day, I used to wear a lot of skirts and suits and heels. I can't necessarily get down, and I don't want to be doing push-ups or, sitting on the machine and doing a whole lot of massage. But I do sometimes want to get a whole body effect. And a really good way to do this when you're standing, and I show you how to do this when you're seated in a stool in other sessions, but just take your elbows, try to keep those shoulders back a little bit, and just rest them on your knees if your range of motion allows. If that's too hard, just try putting the hands on the knees a little bit, okay? Feel like you're ski jumping or water skiing or something. Okay, so those are just a couple of variations to get, fire those quads and those hamstrings and the calf muscles up, but at the same time, we're getting a nice little bit of movement through the upper body without having to get down on the ground and apply those body parts directly. Okay, so 2 to 3 minutes, a minute or two in each position, or 5 to 10 minutes using your belt, get that mental clarity back, be more productive, be more coherent in that workplace. If you spend a lot of time driving, or you're not stationary in your job, you're driving around, a lot of these tools do have convertibles, like a 12 volt for your car. So if you spend a lot of time driving, or maybe you're just going for treatment and you suffer when you're away from your therapies, a lot of these tools can be utilized in your vehicle. And a lot of the rollers, the Luma Cure, the mask, many of those products can be just charged and used at your leisure without having to have access to wall power. So you are only limited by your imagination, but don't forget about taking care of you. And sometimes doing it at work is you're there anyways, you're focused, you're stationary, and there's a lot of benefit that you can do without having to leave those things build, the tension grow throughout the day. And other things get in the way when we get home. So just another idea I wanted to share with you. If you work at home like me, again, it's just about being mindful. If you know you're going to be sitting down for 2 to 3 hours, surfing Facebook, in my case, writing articles or doing things like that, have these tools, maybe not always at the gym or in your workout space, but somewhere where, it's convenient to use them. Wellness can happen in the workplace. It can it can happen at home. It can also help at, if you're mobile in your work. So invest a little bit of time in you. And like I say, with work, sometimes it's convenient because you're there anyways. So I want to hear what your favorite workplace wellness tools are. I'm going to say hello to a whole bunch of folks here. Hello, I said hello, Kim. I said hello to Gail. Stephanie, I love my Turbo 4D. I have plantar fasciitis. How can it help my feet on 4D? For plantar fasciitis, and for those of you that have never joined me for a session before, to me, it's never the speed or the setting, it's the position. So whatever positions you're doing now to relieve plantar fasciitis, perhaps it's some stretches, perhaps it's massage. The plate is an environment that can help enhance and further the benefits of these exercises. Do I have an opinion? Of course I always have an opinion, but I need a pool noodle. So for plantar fasciitis, it's about stretching those calves, okay? And this is a brutal one at work if you're dealing with plantar fasciitis, okay? So I don't know if you can see me here. I am using, it's very technical, it's a swimming pool noodle. You can cut one lengthways if it makes a little bit more sense, depending on the size of your plate. This one is cut a little bit wider. I usually use it on my bigger plates. But with plantar fasciitis, you want to lengthen and stretch that calf muscle. So you're probably doing exercises similar to that now, maybe calf stretches. I like to, on the plate, wedge the pool noodle under my toes to kind of force the stretch a little bit. If the plantar fasciitis is very, very severe, and this is painful, I don't want you adding body weight at this point. It really depends. It's going to vary for everyone. The next progression would be standing. And the reason I like using the pool noodle is they kind of squish a little bit. They're not going to roll around on you. So I'm just locking my legs slightly. I'm wearing the stupidest pants today. Locking them slightly, just stretching the legs, okay? And another way that you could do it, if you've got a larger model, is just hook your foot off the edge of the plate and just like you're standing off the edge of a stair, just give that a tiny little stretch, hold for 2 to 3 seconds, and then switch legs. If you've got good balance and you're working out, you can absolutely do a calf stretch with 2 feet. But I would recommend if you're dealing with chronic issues, especially painful plantar fasciitis, have one foot stable and flat on the machine with the knee bent and have that back leg stretching. Because your heel is off the plate, that's your point of contact, it's completely fine to lock up your leg just to get that stretch done for 3 to 4 seconds. And with plantar fasciitis, do that regularly. You want that circulation. You want to keep things moving and flowing, especially from a recovery standpoint. If it's a chronic thing where you're a go-go dancer and you have to wear 6-inch heels all the time, do a little bit before. If you're finding it's because you're on your feet all day or whatever's causing that plantar fasciitis, a little bit of use in the morning if you've got access to your plate, and don't just leave it till later in the day when those legs are screaming. And you can also, if your range of motion allows, you can lay down on the ground and you can massage your calves directly, but you can also wedge this. Wait a minute, get the right angle. Wedge this under your ankle on the machine and hit that Achilles directly as well. Okay. Hello from North Carolina, Lisa Henderson. I don't know, you would wrap over clothes, cool. For me, just when I'm using it for the heat, yes. And because I'm at the office. That being said, if you work on your own, go down to the bra and just put it over top that way. I'm using that more as a heat treatment. If I'm doing it for fat, or if I want to do infrared and go deep, I do prefer to have it, on skin if I can. So there's a reason I wear a lot of tank tops. What else? Replying to Stephanie, I do too. I need this. Wow, I need this too. How long can you use the mini vibration machine while seated? Those are really loaded questions. It's like asking me, how long can I go for a walk today? Totally going to vary for everybody. But you guys, I want two things. You can overdo anything, but what that overdue point is going to be is different for everybody. But if you're using this thing 7-8 hours a day, you prolong the life of your investment. It is a mechanical moving device, and your belts as well. Sometimes science doesn't know yet, and we're just trying to be proactive. But the worst I've ever seen is the same effects that you'd see as over-exercising. So if you're overdoing it, it tends to be things like swelling, stiffness, whatever would present itself if you normally overdo other things. But I would suggest, if you're dealing with chronic issues, and I've got a lot of clients that are very, very severe, symptoms with a number of medical conditions. For some of them, it's their lifeline, and it's the only thing they do. So they're doing a little bit more time. If you're someone that does 4 hours a day at the gym, and you've got a million other things on the go, the gift of a vibration plate isn't to add another big, long, time-consuming task. There's a lot of effects depending on the goals you're looking for within a very short period. So if you're just looking for some lymph, a little bit of an energy burst, loosen things up, I would say 2 to 5 minutes, a couple, 3 times a day while you're at the office. If you want to go a little bit longer, that's fine. What I don't want you guys doing is restart, 15 minutes, for 4 or 5 hours at a time. You can overdo anything, and I don't want you being jello trying to walk to the car after your day. So everything in moderation. But, I do have some clients, in all honesty, from a safety perspective, that are using these things every hour to manage their pain. They have completely survived, and many of them have thrived. But keep in mind, they're very restricted in some of the other activities that maybe you guys are able to participate in. So balance is everything. Love these work gadgets. I hope that wasn't too rambling and deflective of an answer, but it's never black and white with me, Lisa. Prevention, absolutely. Bonnie says, I love the presentation and have all the tools. Been moving homes this week and definitely will do the lower back standing movement. Just finished using the belt as I listened. That's awesome. Work means something different to everybody. Work might mean that you physically, exerted yourself today. Work might mean that you're away from home for 10, 12 hours a day. I just try to give you guys ideas outside the box, because there's so many different ways that we work nowadays. And if you're in new work, sometimes we forget about ourselves and we let the stress build, and we're not in habits yet. So if you're using these things at work, and you stand or you sit too much, that there's a way to benefit with the tools that you have. Just be mindful, and like anything I say, be consistent, and incorporating wellness and self-care into that workplace is a really easy way to be consistent, because you're spending time there anyways. As long as you're still working, you can do a treatment as well at the same time and save your leisure time for other things. We tend to procrastinate. I know the longer I leave something in the day, the less I'm likely to do it. So if you're like me at all, incorporate these into your lifestyle, into your workplace in a way that you can find success, like many of our users have. If you have any of your little, I'm always curious, because you think you know everything. I've been doing this 15 years. I've been doing workplace vibration machine. I put vibration machines into some very substantial offices with work, and like I say, with hospitals. But it never baffles me. We all think differently. So be creative. What do you do now to feel better when you get up and stand from your desk? You're just adding other things to the equation to give yourself more benefit, and hopefully in less time, so you can get on to other things. Thank you very much for joining me today. I think I have rambled enough on a Monday. I look forward to seeing you again next week. I know for a session. I can't think what it is. Today, again, my favorite tools are your vibration machine of choice. I would absolutely recommend the Waver or the Mini as the ideal under desk machine, just because they have a little bit more size and portability if you do have other purposes for them while you're at the office. My second was the Aleva Red Belt. Love, love, love. It's very adaptable. It's great to use seated. Like I say, I like using it on my knee and my low back are my two go-tos. And a lot of times when I'm sitting at the desk, I'm there anyways, sometimes for an hour or two typing away. You know, and it makes it easier for me to be more consistent than making a point of, oh, I need to sit down and do my self-care. You know, I'm sitting anyways. My other favorites, you know, kind of any kind of red light. I do like the Luma Cure for little spot treatments on my neck and my hands. You know, maybe you're dealing with something in your feet. Other areas, it's a really quick, intense treatment. Can fit in your purse or your gym bag. So that's another really, really good tool. The Legra hand massager, if you're dealing with arthritis, wrist pain, if you sit at a desk all day and type, you just need to install on the Legra on one side of your desk, because I think you'll use it at work. Trust me, you'll use it at work. And then everybody else will want to use it. So put it somewhere where everybody can't see it or refer them. And then, you know, really whatever else you have. I showed you the yoga ring for the posture today. That's another really good tool, not just for me, but as I mentioned, for your teenagers. But yeah, there's all kinds of ways, but sometimes we don't think about bringing them to work with us. We don't think about bringing them to when we're babysitting our grandkids. You know, there's all kinds of ways where you can find the time to incorporate these tools consistently to live a better you. Okay. I have one of the underdesk bikes, but I think it's too heavy for me to get to my office by myself. You know, the bike might be, I'm not sure where you're using it now. But another really good one is just under the kitchen table. If you wanted to keep it at home, you know, I like the kitchen table because the chair is better than the couch. That's my personal opinion. But it really sort of depends on you. Another really good one that I see a lot of my clients using it for is beside the bed in the morning. Again, you tend to be a little bit higher up when you're seated on your bed. And it kind of, for a lot of my clients that deal with chronic lymph swelling, sensation issues, you know, it's nice to get that going first thing in the morning, done and over with. So that's a suggestion too. If you do need to help getting it to work, you know, you may want to just try using it in a couple of those situations at home. Measure the height of your chair at work and make sure it's going to work before you commit to having somebody take it down there for you. I hope that helps, Gail. Like I said, I've put everything into every kind of environment you can imagine. And, you know, sometimes I've even had to level floors just to make things work. But you may as well make your wellness work while you're at work. So thank you guys. Again, you are only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. There's always a way to feel well at work. You have a great start to your week. And I will talk to you probably on Monday. I know I'm here on Monday again. I'm drawing a blank for the session, but I will see you for next Motivational Monday, 6:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific. Don't work too hard. Thanks, guys.